Chimpokomon?
Yes?
Well, now you can buy your very own. I've got to buy Chimpokomon. I've got to buy it. I've got to buy it. Now you can collect them all. Furry cat, donkey trunk, penguin, shoe, lamb toy. Collect them all and you can become Royal Crown Chimpoko Master.
Royal Crown Chimpoko Master, holy!
Probably gonna be my normal talking voice.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
You're always quieter than I am, so I try to
I'm a little quieter.
compensate. But
I like to keep it chill.
But you know, Bill Cosby,
Keeping it posy in the pit, bro.
Crazy loud fellow talking about the pop culture, the punks, and the music, and the
Are
Punisher.
Bill Cosby impressions kosher anymore?
I think anything.
Or is that a Bill
kosher.
Crosby?
That's Bill Cosby.
That's a Bing Crosby impression.
And my evil
I'm
twin, Bill.
dreaming of a white
Here's Bill.
Christmas.
Oh, that's what we were talking about. Just like trying to think of what's a
we
good.
were trying to figure out who names their kid Bing.
Bing,
Chandler Bing.
So
From your favorite TV show.
Bing. I mean, there's the search engine, I guess.
Chandler
is named
Bing.
after him. Chandler Bing.
Chandler Bing from your favorite TV show, Friends.
I hate that show. I hate it. I listened to a video that was analyzing why it's a bad show, and I was like, I 100% completely agree with everything that is being said. And they took the laugh track out, and it was the most uncomfortable thing I've ever seen.
I did that for Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, same thing.
That was so awkward. It was basically them just like making fun of each other, like horrible,
but in like really unfunny ways.
Yeah, I was like, this isn't funny without the laugh track.
Yeah, it's like Raj is like, you are a terrible person, Sheldon. He's like, but I'm fine. I just do this. You're like, this isn't funny.
Yeah, I remember seeing one. I remember seeing some Ross ones from Friends without the laugh track, and it was just like Ross is kind of like a tragic character.
He's
without the laugh tracks. It's like,
he's
man,
a tortured soul.
Yeah, I feel bad for him.
I know.
Somebody get that man some help.
Yeah, somebody. I just want friends. The irony.
The irony
of
of the show. TV show. Friends.
I just want to be loved.
You know who else wants to be loved is Bill Cosby. Not to be confused with that douchebag Bill Cosby.
I got to make up for Zach
He
somehow.
actually got
Yeah, he got
sentenced. He got canned.
Yeah.
Good riddance, I suppose.
Poor Bill.
Same for what's his name?
Time for Bill Cosby to come back up. I got overshadowed by Bill. Because he was better to talk about the pudding and the chocolate cake and all the crazy stuff.
Oh, gosh.
So
anyway, welcome back to another episode of that's the Pop Culture Punks podcast, where we're bringing you back to the pit.
Code word. I can't do it. What are you guys up to? Oh, nothing.
It's like that one episode of SpongeBob where he's like, no.
I'm trying to get home.
I feel like that episode scared me as a kid. Because I was like, man, he got trapped. He's stuck here.
Not a bad man. That was Bill. I'm real.
Oh, gosh. So we've had over 1,000 total lifetime downloads, so that's a good shout out. What is meant by download?
So that means from when we started in November, we have had over 1,000. We have had 1,000 lifetime downloads since then.
That's dope. It's like 100 a month.
I think a crunch is like 150, something
Dang,
like that.
let's go.
Average.
I'll take it, even if they're all bots. I'll take it.
Yeah. We appreciate your humor. laughing.
We need to have like a pre-made robot Zach track that we can just. That was funny.
That was a bad
You guys
joke.
are stupid.
What are you saying?
Oh gosh.
That's gonna be my go-to. Sorry, now I've done it. See, Zach, that's like Zach is good at every impression, but one of my favorite impressions is to do all the Bill Cosby stuff because he just like slurs everything together.
Everything slurs together.
But now it's.
But now you can't do it. In
But-
kosher.
This might be too far. Is it possible that doing a Bill Cosby impression, making fun of him, is in the same way that you would like make fun of like Nazis, where it's like they're bad and they're clearly bad, and in doing it, it's funny because they're bad and we know they're bad.
It could be, but I feel like people
It's-
were doing
it's
it
to-
before.
it's- right.
People were doing the same thing beforehand, so it's kind of like
It's like
tit for tat. Yeah.
I want to go in the shower.
Oh gosh. So what have you been up to this week?
My boy, I have been up to not a lot. I've been pretty swamped with video stuff still, and just kind of having Monday off threw me off super hard.
Oh, yeah.
It was great. It was fantastic, just getting to chill. But I also didn't get out of bed until like 10 or 11, and so I didn't get started on a lot of stuff. So I'm behind on some other projects for other people. So I was like, crud, I got all that stuff to do too. But I have managed to sneak in some Overwatch, so that's been awesome. They're in their 2nd year anniversary event right now. So that's been a ton of fun.
Nice.
I've said it before. I don't know how they've kept that game so relevant. It's so good. It's just still as good.
Yeah, I think Blizzard is good at keeping games relevant.
Yeah, they just I don't know how
they
they
have
do
like
it.
a corner on the online game market.
Right, that continuous flow. But yeah, so some Overwatch. Kind of dropped off of Pokemon Red for a little bit, partially because of one of our news bits that came up. But I think that's pretty much the gist.
You finished Frank.
I
Welcome
did,
back, Frank.
yeah. I should probably look at the list. I was just going off the top of the dome, but yeah, I finished Welcome Back, Frank, which is one of, I don't know where in the line of Punisher comics it fits. I think it's more.
It's the first run of Garth Ennis's run.
So it's like early 2000s.
I think so. But I think it's still currently the most like recent run, maybe.
Yeah.
I think Garth Ennis is still writing Punisher, but I'm not sure.
Sure. But yeah, did I enjoy that so much more than Invincible Iron Man. I kind of knew I would, just because I am more of a Punisher fan, and I was able to do a little more research and seeing like which ones are more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just like the most obnoxious, violent, this is just humorously overdone kind of comic that was just like fun to read.
Mm-hmm.
So it was interesting because there are portions of it that are in, there's like one section that is actually in the Daredevil show, but it's not the whole line. And then there's the majority of it, which is played off of the, what's his name? Something Thomas Jane, whoever played him in the
Thomas Jane, I think.
Yeah.
Tom Jane.
Hit that movie, so not Warzone or the
Okay, the 2004, I think. one.
Yeah. Not
It's
the
a good movie.
Jean-Claude. Yeah. So that's a really good. So then that storyline was basically all from that movie. So it was interesting. It was really good. You still get to see the human side of Frank Castle, but also you just get to see the obnoxiously
The monster side of
ridiculous-
him as well.
Yeah. And you can't even like call it the monster side because it's just so, it's just like so over the top.
Yeah.
And just like there's a part where, he's fighting some mob guys and they go into a zoo and he like punches one of the guys and grabs him and like holds him in the piranha tank. And then it like cuts a couple, and then the next panel is like the other guys who are his partners who are looking for him. And it's just like his body completely stripped of anything except for his shins, which have like his pants and his legs still attached. But then the rest up is just like empty bone.
Oh,
and
gosh.
the one guy's like, "Oh, that's Johnny." He's like, "Bleh." And it was just like, oh my gosh.
Oh gosh.
It's just,
That's
yeah,
great.
he kills a guy with a fat guy, like uses a fat guy to suffocate another guy. And it was like, holy crap.
Oh, gosh.
So it was so brutal and so gory, but at the same time, it was really funny. It was almost like funny. Like,
Yeah,
how's
just
Frank
over
gonna
the
kill
top.
this guy? And it's like the fat guy was towards the end of the story, and of course it was like he just killed this guy with his fat neighbor. He's like, "How you doing, Mr. Bumpo?" He's like, "I'm good. What's going on?" He's like, "I just need you to sit here for like 20 minutes." He's like, "Okay." Like 20 minutes later,
The guy
passed.
didn't even question.
Yeah, he's like, "Okay." And then like 20 minutes later passed, and he's like, "Are you okay? How you doing?" He's like, "I'm good." He's like, "Do you feel anything?" He's like, "Nope." He's like, "All right, we'll wait another 20 minutes."
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I was like, "Wow."
Oh,
So
that's
that
hilarious.
happened. But yeah, it was really good. If you just want like a fun, if you're like into the more edgy comic stuff, that was a fun read. So welcome back, Frank. It also introduced these 3 other guys who also were replicant vigilantes in the story. They were very interesting as, again, like very cartoony, over the top violence, but were on the line of Punisher style stuff of I'm killing bad guys. But then at the end, it's like kind of this reveal of Frank doesn't want anything to do with them because of specific mistakes that he knows of that they've committed. And so as a result, isn't too big of fans. But it was interesting having like that one moment where he very clearly defines like why he doesn't like what they did. And it's like, you made this mistake. They're like, "Yeah, but it's like what you do." He's like, "I don't make mistakes. I don't do stuff like that." And I was like, dang.
Interesting.
So, but it was fun.
Nice.
Other than that, just stuff I mentioned before, I picked up. I don't know if it's still on sale. I would highly recommend it if you can find it, if it's still on sale in the PSN store or whatever console you have. But the Marvel Ultimate Alliance pack, so games 1 and 2 are on. So they release them on like PS4 and Xbox, I think, and I think they're on PC as well. But it was like $25, I think, for both of them, which normally it's $60 for both
Dang.
of them. So it was a stupid high deal. And if you are a Marvel fan at all, you have to get those games. You have to. They're really easy in terms of just mechanics. They're not super difficult. You get to play as a huge cast of characters. Both of them have like differing people that they did or did not include, because I think like Iron Fist and some other more niche folks make it into the second one.
Okay.
But in the first one, you get like Iron Man, Magneto's in there,
Dang,
all the
dude.
Fantastic Four, Silver Surfer's an unlockable character. You can play as Doctor Strange, Moon Knight.
Nice.
So you can have a team of like Miss Marvel, Moon Knight, Deadpool, and the Hulk, and like run around and beat the snot out of stuff.
That's dope.
So it's really fun. So my go-to combo has been Moon Knight, Spidey, Iron Man, and swapping between like Deadpool and someone else. I can't think of.
Interesting.
Cap.
I feel
was
like I
one of
would
the guys.
do Wolverine, Deadpool, Thor, and can't think of another one.
Hulk. Maybe sneak
Hulk,
Hulk in
maybe,
there.
or maybe like a bad guy, maybe a Magneto or something.
Yeah, there's a few bad guys in there, but I know Ghost Rider's in there. I haven't unlocked him yet. Blade. You can play as Blade.
Ooh.
There's a few where I was like, wow, they put that dude in here. Like, that's freaking cool. But yeah, so you can literally do that combo. I think Thor, some of the other people, you have to do some unlockable stuff that
Okay.
I'm like not too excited about because it's pretty hard from what I've read.
Yeah.
But I think there's some cheats, so I might see if those
Mm-hmm.
still work. But
Classic.
yeah. But it was super
Cool.
cool. I know originally they hadn't released the patch that had the secret DLC characters in it, so like Ghost Rider, Blade, Doctor Strange, and a couple other people, but now they are in it, which to me that was like what made me
Nice.
jump headfirst.
Doctor
'Cause
Strange will be a good one. He's an interesting character.
super interested, aren't you?
Yeah. I don't know why I'm tired now.
Dude, it was
chugged down him.
like a huge
We just
monster.
chatted for like an hour or so.
and both took sips of water at the exact same time.
Yep.
But yeah, no, it was so it's good. It's really easy, it's really fun. It's 4-player, so it's a great couch co-op. It's like for any Marvel fan, it's not based on any specific comic thing that I can tell of. It's just all these
Just a
heroes
brawler.
and you get to
Fighting with heroes.
just fight stuff.
Nice.
It's very fun. So, highly recommend. Other than that, that's pretty much the gist.
Nice.
That's it. How about you?
Still reading comics.
Of course you are.
Yeah.
Of course you are.
They just released the 5th issue of Doomsday Clock, which is like the sequel that's currently running of Watchmen.
Gotcha.
So that was pretty good. I'm liking the parallels they're drawing so far between the Watchmen and the DC characters, kind of like bringing the deconstruction narrative from Watchmen to like the DC heroes as well, kind of showing you like Batman in a different light and stuff.
Sure.
I kind of like that so far. So it's interesting. I found a comic called Atomic Robo, which is about a robot that was built by Nikola Tesla, and now he just like fights with the U.S. government, and like it's kind of like Hellboy, but he's like a robot and he fights in like different scenarios, and like he's kind of like a goofy. He just like jokes and stuff, and it's pretty interesting so far.
Is he like sentient? Is that one of the things? Yeah. Or okay.
Yeah. Like he's basically just like a human, but
Gotcha.
he's like a robot that was built by Tesla. So it's pretty interesting. And it basically like time jumps different places.
Sure.
So like there's one where he's in World War One and he's in World War Two and different things. So
Got it.
it's pretty interesting. It's
Nice.
kind of just like a goofy, like he's just joking around a lot because he's like basically invincible. So it makes for some funny moments. Watched the Thor movie, Thor 1.
First one?
With Evan, yeah. I think we both thought it was a decent film. I think it established Thor's character enough, but I think it wasn't focused enough. I think because they were trying to get Thor to be like worthy of the hammer again, I think they took the wrong route to getting him to that path. And so like the relationship stuff basically like shoehorned him into that path of becoming worthy of the hammer again.
Right.
So that kind of felt forced. Like, why is he so in love with this girl all of a sudden? Like,
Yeah.
there wasn't enough time for them to establish that relationship. And so I feel like the first movie should have been focusing on the tension in Asgard, and then bringing like the Thor worthiness narrative to like number 2 maybe.
Sure.
I haven't seen number 2 yet, so
Had you ever seen the first one?
no.
Yeah, so that was one of the things that made Thor Ragnarok so good for me, and even just Thor as a character in Infinity War as well, is when I remember looking back to the first one, I was like, that movie sucked. Like it was one of the early Marvel movies, and I just remember not liking it. It just was very convoluted, focused on all the wrong, uninteresting people.
I think
Did not like
the
it.
interesting aspect about Thor is the fact that he's a god,
Right.
and they took that away from him for
And
the
you're
whole
like,
movie.
and then he's got to
Yeah.
just kind of handle stuff. But at the same time, having seen Infinity War, it made his trials and everything that he ended up doing in that movie so much more impactful, because it was like he came from being the suckiest superhero who knew nothing. He was immature. He was obnoxious, and that carries through. That he does mature across the movies and until his culmination in Infinity War, and finally he is almost like quote unquote worthy of the hammer, truly. Then, and but by then, of course, like everything's changed drastically. But yeah, I remember it was like, was it planned on purpose? Like probably not that bad, but at the same time, kind of worked it for itself, and that it was.
I think in the context of the whole universe, it's a decent enough movie of establishing Thor's like original bullheadedness and his arrogance about
Definitely.
like what it takes to lead his country. But I think you're right in the sense that like it completely ignored that aspect of his character in that movie itself. Like you kind of got that about him, but like it focused more on like the weird sciencey stuff and like they didn't really. It just felt like they didn't know what movie they were making.
Yeah.
Like they were still kind of getting their chops and figuring out how to make a good Marvel movie.
Right.
I think if they went back and did it, they probably would.
Oh,
it
they
would be
did
a
so
lot
differently. Yeah.
Because I think you just get rid of like. Basically, they should have like just gotten rid of the relationship stuff and focused on like him having to deal with human beings in general and learning what it means to be human.
Yep.
And then that's kind of what draws him to the hammer and like getting his power back. But instead, they focused really specifically on that relationship. That was
right.
Like, it was awkward because like, why is she so like just because he's attractive? Like, is that the joke? It's Chris Hemsworth. Like, I don't know. It was kind of like they were still like uncomfortable with the fact that they had like this attractive actor to play a godlike character, and so it felt awkward.
Yeah.
Like
It was,
all of the weird smiles she gave him and stuff. I'm
Yeah,
like, what?
you're
Like,
like,
this is
why?
like this is yeah.
honestly, it was almost the same feeling I had when I watched Man of Steel, where that's one of the reasons I really didn't like Man of Steel. Is it's like, yes, I know Superman and Lois Lane is the thing, but it was so fast in terms of the narrative. Like, it goes from 1
Yeah.
second where his dad dies, and then the next they're like making out in the graveyard. I'm like, whoa,
Yeah.
too soon.
And they kind of shoehorn in the
yeah.
romance. Yeah.
But no, it's funny because Glow had never seen Ragnarok, so she and I watched that last night, and I just forgot how funny that movie was. Like, just all the moments.
I'm excited to get to that one.
Yeah,
Because
it's-
right now we're kind of slogging through the early ones, which are decent movies.
Yep.
But like, there's a lot of good ones coming up, like Civil War and Ragnarok, that I want
Oh,
Evan
yeah.
to see. So
Yeah.
we got a ways to go, though.
Yeah.
We got to watch Iron Man 2 next, I think, and then the first Captain America, and then the first Avengers, and then I think Iron Man 3 and Thor 2, which I've heard is even worse than the first one.
Oh, that's not true at all.
Oh, really?
No.
Okay.
It's
Because everybody online is saying Dark World. Well, everybody online says they're both trash, but Dark World is just like not even worth watching at all.
that's not true.
But yeah, I mean that's why I put it on the list, because I'm like I like
Right.
making the judgment for myself whether,
Yeah.
because usually when people say don't watch something, I'm like I'm probably gonna watch it and think it's fine, to be honest. Like I was
Like,
like I was comfortable with watching most of the DC movies, so like
Right.
I have a pretty low threshold when it comes to
Yeah.
superhero
No,
movies. But
It's definitely, I mean, excuse me. I would definitely agree with the assertion that they're both relatively bad, especially when you compare
especially
them to
compared to
Ragnarok.
Ragnarok, yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like that was Marvel in its peak stride. Even, and I mean, not to say that they slowed down, but that was when they were like, we got it. Like, we just
Yeah, they basically
figured
knew
it
what they
out.
were doing. Yeah.
Yeah, but Dark World was fine. Like, wasn't
Cool.
amazing. Narrative wasn't, super stellar, but I think what was really good about it, if you don't take it super intensely, is how it builds the relationship between Loki and Thor. And because I feel like the first one was very Thor heavy and in like a awkward way, like they didn't handle it super well. The second one was better at kind of showing the dynamic between them both and how different they
is
are.
Loki the bad guy in the first Avengers?
Yes.
So then Dark World takes place after that.
Yes.
I really like Loki as a character,
Yeah.
because he's
Definitely.
like he's not really bad and he's not really good. He's just misguided all the time. Like he kind of like just does whatever's convenient,
Right.
which is it makes for an interesting character. When
Yeah,
like, Thor, it's
exactly.
like his brother, but at the same time he's supposed to be fighting the evil, and
Yeah, and
it's fascinating.
that's what is like fun about him, and is he doesn't really have a side. He's just kind of like, how am I not going to die?
Yeah, he's just trying to survive basically,
Yeah.
which is interesting.
Which is also why I loved in Infinity War is like that he doesn't try. He like uses that tactic to then take a shot at Thanos, but then I mean,
Yeah,
we
he
all
like
know how that
basically
ends.
like double crosses. So
Yep.
it's interesting.
Yeah. But
So yeah, that's what I've done this
Sweet.
week. We're trucking our way through the series. So
that's a long way to go.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll task Glow with that during the summer.
Yeah.
She'll have so much.
I basically, because we've seen a lot of them, so we're not going to rewatch ones we've already seen.
Sure.
So like Ant-Man, we've seen both Guardians, we've seen Spider-Man, and then we've seen Black Panther and Infinity War. So then that left with like 13. So I figured it out, like we have about a year. So like if we watch one a month, we'll make it through the rest of them before.
yeah.
Our goal is to get them all done before the second Avengers or the
Cool.
fourth Avengers.
When by the time, because I think Infinity War, I like literally out of the theater. I think that night I pre-ordered Infinity War on Blu-ray.
Really?
Already,
It's
yeah.
kind of
'cause I
crazy
think-
how like quickly they
It's
have
so
them up for
fast
pre-order now.
Yeah.
I remember when
I
movies
love
would
it.
take like a whole year to come
Oh, it was
out.
like a couple years. It was like,
Yeah.
did this
Now
came
it's
out on
like
DVD?
literally you can pre-order it the day it's in theaters.
Yeah, I love that they do that though, because I wished back in the day I could have gotten more stuff on DVD faster, but I didn't buy a lot of DVDs at the time because it was like, I'm not gonna wait 4 years for this thing to actually be watchable.
Do you know when
again.
it comes out?
I want to say it's either at the tail end of this year or early next
Okay.
year. So,
I was hoping for Black Friday.
oh
'Cause
yeah,
that's where I
I
usually.
mean we could check after.
Yeah, because that's
but-
where I usually get all my superhero movies is Black Friday. Because
yeah.
most of them are usually like $8, and then I'm like, let's go build that collection.
That's what I'm doing. I only have a few left of the mainstay Marvel movies, so I think I
Not
have like
including
4.
like the MCU. You mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Versus
so
like Fox.
I
or
still need
Sony.
so I still need like X-Men 1 through 3, Daredevil, some of those, Incredible Hulk, but I'm like,
Yeah, I tried watching the first X-Men movie, and I have. It's kind of like the original Spider-Man movies. Like in my mind as a child, I had good vibes about them because I'm like, that's all we knew at the time.
For sure.
But then I tried rewatching the first X-Men movie, and like, it's just
it's bad.
I couldn't get through it.
I know.
But like, my problem is I like really love Wolverine as a character, and he's like the only part about those movies that I actually like. And so like, but it's all the other characters are weird, and they kill off characters that shouldn't have been killed off, and I don't know. It's weird. But
that's the hard part for me is I don't want to reinvest in those because I just know that they're not.
Yeah. I have them on my list, but like MCU is taking priority over most. MCU and DCEU for me are like taking priority over like peripheral
for sure
things. So
nice.
So
Dope.
yeah, that's what's up. Yeah.
You.
So we got some big news items.
It's gonna be a news focused one because holy shnikes this week.
Dude, this announcement caught me off guard because like
the day out of nowhere.
The day it came out, I had no idea if Nintendo was having that meeting or Game Freak or whoever. They were like meeting and somebody was tweeting about it. And that night, Evan and I had gone for a walk. We usually go for a walk around 7:38 just because it's a little bit cooler and that's when the bunnies come out, so we get to see bunnies. And so we went for a walk, and I like come back, sit down in my chair like I'm gonna read a comic or something, and I just look at Twitter and I'm like, what is this? Pokemon Let's Go. What? Pokemon? And Evan's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I think they're announcing the new Pokemon right now. Like, what the heck? And she like took a picture of me and sent it to her friends because she said I had like the most concerned look on my face she's ever seen. Because I was just like, because they did it in like a sequential order. I'm like, wait, what? And I was like commentating, and I was like, Pokemon Go mechanic, like what? What is going on? And I'm just like sitting there like commentating as I'm scrolling through my feed and seeing all like, because it was like real time. I was like seeing all this new information. I'm like, frick.
And
she's like, are you excited or not? I'm like,
I don't
really know right now. I'm kind of confused. I'm conflicted. So yeah, but I think in the long run I was excited because finally if you didn't catch on by now, finally we are getting Pokemon on the Switch.
Yep.
And they technically announced 5 total games, 3 separate series of games. So we have Pokemon Quest, which is that weird blocky. When I saw that, I was confused. I was like, is this what the new Pokemon looks like? Like, because I saw all the announcements, and then I saw that picture. I'm like,
yeah, that makes sense.
What is this trash? Like, are they turning Pokemon into Minecraft or something? Like, what the heck? But then I registered that right now they released Pokemon Quest, which is more of a mobile-oriented game.
Right.
And then they announced Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee, which are coming out this year in November.
Yep.
Which
I already pre-ordered yesterday. So.
Same. I pre-ordered both.
Let's go.
Just in case. I don't know which one I want yet, so I'm kind of like holding off.
There's part of me that just would pick up both just for the sake of, one, because Gamers Club is running out.
I know. It's like, get your games while you can.
I have until next May.
June, I think,
yeah. So I might be mooching off you next June if there's any
games.
the
last month.
But
and then on top of that, which made me a little more excited about these new games, is next year in the second half of 2019 is the new like mainline Pokemon games. So Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee aren't actually like mainline games. They're more like peripheral spin-off games, but
still somehow
RPGs.
Right.
It's confusing. I have a list here. We can just kind of like go through the list of
that'd be
the
good.
Different mechanics, and then kind of discuss why we're excited and why we're a little apprehensive, maybe. And then
because I was like you said, I had no idea that this was coming, and then especially
the funny part is like every one of these things was actually leaked
predicted
in April on 4chan and then posted on Reddit, and people like shot it down.
They're like, no.
And then like literally they called like
verbatim
everything on this list, including the name itself. And I'm like, frick, this was real. Holy cow. Like, I did not believe them.
Yep.
So, but I'll just go through the list of things that they actually confirmed through their Twitter account. And then these aren't even rumors. These are literally confirmed things. So first they confirmed that it's not actually like a core Pokemon game that's coming next year. So you can rest easy if this isn't your cup of tea, which is kind of me. They're quote-unquote remakes of Pokemon Yellow. They're not really like remasters. They're like taking the world of Pokemon Yellow and the concept of Pokemon following you and stuff, and I think like reworking the story and stuff. At least that's what they made it sound like. So it's
Yeah.
not like literally remaking Pokemon Yellow with better graphics. It's like reinvigorating it, kind of. But it's basically just based on Pokemon Yellow. You can actually flick the Joy-Cons, like in Pokemon Go, kind of. You can flick the Joy-Con to throw the Pokeballs, which also comes with an added bonus of a Pokeball Joy-Con controller, which looks pretty interesting. It has a little button on it that you can use to throw Pokemon and catch Pokemon. So, one step closer to real-life Pokemon. Let's go.
Waiting for it.
And you can also take the Pokemon with you on the go in that little Pokeball, like a pedometer sort of thing. I don't know what it does, but 2 players can adventure at the same time. That's all we know so far. Maybe more than 2, maybe 4. I don't know. And they did confirm that it's only couch co-op, sort of, or like local multiplayer.
Yeah.
It's not. There's no online mode on these games. That's not to say there won't be any internet, but internet's not required for this sort of thing. And it's not like Pokemon Go in the sense that you have to use internet to play it. Kanto Pokemon caught in Go can be transferred over. I don't know to what respect. Some people are thinking it's just like a Pokemon Go park within the game where your Pokemon can kind of like hang out, but you don't necessarily like get to use the same Pokemon. But it'll be interesting to see how that integration works. They haven't really confirmed exactly the nature.
One specifically to that one, I've seen. Well, I'll let you get through the rest of them after this. But one of the things that I saw in a still that was captured is actually a Pokemon transferred from Go to the Switch in the release trailer. Actually had the CR stats or whatever. So, and in the fight, you can actually see Pokemon with CR stats. So
okay.
I'm speculating and I'm hoping, because I've picked up Pokemon Go again just to hopefully I've been grinding those, getting a bunch of Kabutos.
Kabuto.
Send
that
those in.
Kabutops, let's go.
Kabutos. And I think it is legit, like it's your stuff and you get to use it.
So that should be interesting. It might make me
If
pick
that
up
is the
Pokemon
thing.
Go
Yeah.
the next couple months just to like get some beefy Pokies before then.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it is. They specifically did say Kanto Pokemon, so I don't think 2nd or 3rd gen can be transferred over, which makes me wonder if there literally are only Kanto Pokemon in this game. Like if it's literally just Pokemon Yellow.
Which would make sense, because then that's kind of what made me think of it is if you only can catch Kanto Pokemon, like it's not like originally when there was only Gen 1 out, and so you can just be like, oh, I'm just going to farm like 8,000 Dratinis and get like 4 Dragonites starting out in the game. But it does make sense then if, it's like, all right, well, if I catch a Bulbasaur and a Charmander and I choose to start with Squirtle, like I can have all 3, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I actually have to like go out and get them. I can't, it's not just like, oh, hey, look at this.
Exactly.
So I thought that was pretty cool.
Definitely. Separate saves are technically possible just because I don't think within your account, but because the Switch lets you use multiple accounts, you can use multiple saves. There will be a new Pokemon, never before seen, released in this game that they said. And Pokeball Plus controller, I already talked about that. And then they said that this game will be more focused on like the home console experience, whereas the new one, like the ones next year, will be more focused on the traditional like handheld mode experience. So it's kind of like you get the console game, so like a Coliseum or a XD type console experience, and then you get the traditional Pokemon competitive RPG game. So yeah, that's that game. We can talk about next year's Pokemon after we kind of discuss. So for me specifically, one thing I didn't specifically mention in here but alluded to is like the Pokemon Go integration and mechanics. Like that was a thing that had been rumored, and I was kind of like hoping, like, no, please,
initially,
for the love of Jesus, please
don't do this.
Do not introduce Pokemon Go.
Yeah,
don't let that trash touch my Pokemon games.
Like, don't let it.
Not my Pokemon.
Hashtag
build the wall. Yeah, build the wall between Pokemon Go and Pokemon. But I think the way that they're integrating it, so like. Basically, right now, it looks like you can trade from Pokemon Go to the game.
Yes.
But you can't trade from the game to Pokemon Go.
Yes.
And so it's a one-way relationship. And the other integration point is the way you catch the Pokemon is the same as in Pokemon Go. So, like, whereas in traditional Pokemon games, you would whittle down the health and then catch them. in this one, it's the same as Pokemon Go, where like you don't have to actually fight the Pokemon. You just have to like aim and then like let the circle get small, and that's what increases your catch rate. So, which I don't know. I think I'm just stuck in the old ways. I just want the old ways, which they have confirmed. We'll talk about later that there won't be Pokemon Go integration in the actual mainline game.
Yeah,
like they're not doing that sort of thing. So that gives me more hope too. So I think this now, because of that other game that's coming, like it gives me license in my own brain to enjoy this game for what it is and kind of see it as a separate Pokemon experience.
Not fear of like this is the testing ground to see like, we may or may not put it into the next one.
I think they're literally separating it because they want this game to be the integration point for like people who play Pokemon Go but don't play the mainline games and don't have a Switch. So this was basically like, let's get all those people to buy Switches to play this Pokemon game, and then we'll release another Pokemon game next year, and now we have all of the Pokemon fans playing our Pokemon games on the Switch.
Yep.
And so it's kind of like, it's not really to satisfy the mainline fans, it's to get the Pokemon Go fans to start playing Pokemon on handheld consoles, almost.
Definitely.
Which I can get on board with. I think it's a very smart marketing move.
Oh, yeah. And to me, I think what made me mad about the idea of the Pokemon Go integration was... like it was more the concept of like Pokemon Go is pointless. Like there is no, and I think gosh, I don't want to poke at Destiny a 30th time, but
sorry, Jake.
Like it's like pointless to the level of there is no like Pokemon. I never got into Pokemon Go because there was no point. Like there was go out and catch Pokemon. Yeah, that's cool for like a week.
It kind of like took the catchphrase of Pokemon, like "gotta catch them all,"
like literally
just the point of that. Like the point of Pokemon isn't really to catch them all,
right?
Like the point of Pokemon is the RPG mechanics and battling trainers and getting your Pokemon
and being
stronger.
The best.
And then you try and catch them all, but you kind of just give up after like
because it's like doesn't matter. I have a level
work.
100 Dragonite I just own, and so for me, I never got into Pokemon Go because it was like I'm not gonna walk around town for 4 hours to catch a this or that. For no reason, like just for the sake of it. Now, yesterday was kind of fun of like, all right, I want to get outside and, I'm just going to skate around the neighborhood and stop at a couple Pokestops and go home. Like that was perfect. Mm-hmm. But in the game itself, there was nothing in it that made me want to play it whatsoever. However, having this news that I can catch Gen 1 stuff and transfer it into the actual game that I like sit on my couch and play, that to me was like, yes. Yes.
It gives purpose to Pokemon Go in some sense for like mainline Pokemon fans.
Yep.
Because we're like, there's purpose to the Pokemon we're
catching.
And purpose meaning like...
if I catch something out in the wild, or it's like, you know what? I'm getting towards this gym that's going to be... I'm all right, I just beat Misty. I'm headed towards Brock. You know what? It might be kind of fun if I went out and caught like a Poliwhirl, because I'm not going to get to catch him... and for people who know the games well, especially with it being more a yellow, calling out to like older school fans, it's like, all right, well, I know I've got these next couple gyms, like, and I can't catch these certain Pokemon at this point. Like, I'm going to go find one. Yeah. I'm going to go see if I can, but you don't have to do that. It's all stuff that you can choose how to play. And I really, really, really appreciate that Game Freak did not do what a lot of other companies I think would do and say you have to do it this way or else you just can't enjoy it. And instead it's the option of, because I know everyone's complaining is going to be like, well, now you can go out and get like 20 teenies and then level up and do this.
And there's no confirmation that is even possible.
Exactly.
Like, we don't know at what point in the game you actually can transfer Pokemon.
Right.
And we don't also know what you can do with the Pokemon you transfer. Like we're hypothesizing that you can use them in battle, but like we don't know like to what extent. We like, to be honest, we don't even know, like they haven't confirmed the nature of this game other than that it's a remake of Yellow.
Right.
There's no confirmation that there's actually gyms. Like we don't know what type of gaming experience we're going to get with this game. Like, is it a traditional RPG with Pokemon Go mechanics, or is it focused on like the exploration aspect where the whole point of the game is to explore the world of Kanto and just catch different Pokemon, and there isn't any like gyms and traditional Pokemon type things.
But I do distinctly remember in the trailer there being a shot of you battling.
There is battles, yeah.
Right, and specifically a battle with a Team Rocket member. specifically
Okay.
after.
So there might be some sort of
Yeah,
story.
and so there's a lot of me that thinks it is going to be Pokemon Yellow. Essentially, obviously they
I really
haven't
hope
shown,
it is. 'Cause
they haven't
I love
shown
Pokemon
gyms
Yellow,
and
so.
stuff, but I think the reason for that is you get people excited, you get listening ears, and then when E3 rolls around, you give 2 minutes and even like, yep, it's gonna have gyms, yep, it's gonna have this, and by the way, it's gonna have this, and you can do this, and everyone's gonna lose their minds.
The interesting one of the rumors on the 4chan thing that didn't get announced was that Red and Gary would play a role in the story.
Yeah,
And
I remember
presumably
that,
you're
actually.
not
You're like a
because I
new-
think it's like a future
right.
thing, like things have moved on almost.
Yeah.
Which could be interesting.
Yeah,
And so like maybe Red and Gary play a role in the world and you get to like interact with them and stuff. And now like because with the EV Pikachu thing, like Pokemon Yellow, like Gary gets the EV and you get the Pikachu. Maybe that's like almost you choosing your side on this sort of conflict. And I mean
Sure.
neither of you were ever good or bad, but it'll be interesting to see if the paths change.
yeah.
Sort of like a sun, moon, night, day sort of thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so I'm genuinely excited to just see it as like they're trying drastically new things that even if they're not what I was hoping they would quote unquote drastically change, that I love the idea of integrating Pokemon Go into it to the extent of you can actually go out and catch Pokemon. Because to me, I don't care. Unless they would have, and maybe this is where they're trying to tie them over, I would have been super excited if Pokemon Go had battle mechanics that you could actually like battle your friends and you could battle and actually do like, you know, like in the game, you know, oh, I caught this Pokemon, it has this move set. Well, to level up, I need to catch this, or I need to get this many items to do this.
Yeah.
And I need like actually like finding TMs and doing things like that. That would have been awesome, and I probably would have been way more into it because it actually would have been
because it feels
it's
like the
purposeful.
Pokemon experience.
Right, and it's
Yeah.
purposeful. I'm catching more Pokemon, and I'm quote unquote training them to actually like battle my friends and have fun because
Yeah.
it's funny. Like, all right, you and I are gonna face down at the pool, you know. Whereas now it's
It
like
ended up just being geocaching with Pokemon
exactly, yeah,
skins,
that's exactly what it was. And so now to have this, where you know, if I go out and catch something and bring it back, it's like, ooh, Phil doesn't have a Poliwrath. He's gonna get smoked.
Yep.
You
Plus
know?
the idea that you can play with your friends
yeah,
should be interesting too. I
Yep.
think that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Because then it brings the couch co-op aspect into Pokemon.
definitely.
And I mean, it'll probably be like what Far Cry had that, where it's more like it's your game and somebody's just playing along your story with you. It's not necessarily
Yeah,
like you both are
exactly.
catching Pokemon and you both get the Pokemon. I feel like it'll be more like, no, you're just helping them advance their storyline,
Right.
which I think could be fun.
Definitely.
And I could see like me playing it and just getting Evan to join me for the heck of it and like forcing her
Throw
to play
Pokeballs
Pokemon
and
with me and
stuff,
stuff.
yeah.
And I don't know.
For
I think
sure.
it'd be kind of cool.
Definitely.
So
I honestly, even just seeing the art style and everything and how it looks, I'm
Yeah.
just so excited.
I'm optimistic. I think
just to have a Pokemon,
Yeah.
like a real world XD Coliseum style game on a console, like on my big 4K TV to see and
Yeah.
play a modern Pokemon game is just
yeah.
like, even that alone is gonna be
yeah. I think
freaking
it's
awesome.
interesting because like literally if this was the game they were releasing and there was no second game,
Mhm.
this is like my worst fears manifest like in a Pokemon game. Like this is everything that I did not want my Pokemon to become. And like that's why at first I was apprehensive because I was like, frick, they're literally turning Pokemon into Pokemon Go. But I think it's amazing now to see like they actually recognize like that they have different fan bases. Like
Yeah.
they have people that like different things about Pokemon and they've recognized that and they've split it and they basically said like we're going to make games for both of you. We're going to make games that integrate with Pokemon Go and let us test the boundaries of what we can do with this stuff, but we're not going to mess with your main thing. Like we're going to leave that alone. We're going to still test things out, but we're going to make 2 series where we can test
Yeah.
things out. So it's going to be interesting to see where both of these series go because I think it's going to draw those 2 Pokemon fan bases together in some senses.
Or at
Which
least
could be cool.
Yeah, or at least allow open doors to keep both of them satisfied, which means you get double the folks because you're not.
They're making money, so
When there's part of me too that I mean, people would probably completely disagree and then call it like, well, you just buy everything too. But if they started doing this with like starting in Yellow and then they do this with Crystal and it's a Crystal remake, and then the next one is an Emerald remake,
That'd
and then
be
they do
dope.
a Diamond, like. Dude, they could just keep going with this for the next, 4 or 5 gens until they catch up to the modern day. I mean, maybe like Sun and Moon, like kind of leave alone, even like maybe Black and White. But do like the first 3, maybe 4 gens, do remakes like these games, you know, and do like Let's Go Totodile and whatever, and do that, I would die. But then also do your new mainstay games, or like do the variations and do that and keep that. But to have these other games keep going, and then maybe with those old gens to link them so you can battle up or like battle back and stuff like that.
And
Dude,
I think it provides like a separate
that.
series to test crazier things.
Exactly.
Because I feel like the Pokemon Go fan base is less fickle about like classic Pokemon.
Exactly.
Like, they're,
like what it actually has been.
Because like people who just play Go don't really get what is appealing about Pokemon in necessarily.
Right.
And so it could give them that opportunity to try things one generation, and then maybe if it was well received and other people were like, hey, we want that in our Pokemon, and then they can bump it up to the next gen of the mainline story. And so it gives the opportunity to like try things out and move between the two. So
yeah,
I think it'll end up being cool. I'm more
for
optimistic about the future of Pokemon.
Yeah, and they've set themselves up for success in terms of that. And I mean,
releasing Pokemon Quest immediately, I probably won't play it, but like it's already on the store. It's on mobile phones. And so like that opens the door for younger kids, because it's kind of like that blocky style that kids like these days, apparently. Whatever kids like these days. And so like that opens the door for newer entries into it who aren't necessarily familiar with Pokemon. Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu gives it to the Pokemon Go fans to jump on the console. And then you get the main game where if everybody jumps into these first 2 series, now like, oh, more Pokemon. I'm going to try that out. And it's something they've never tried before, but now they're familiar with the Pokemon world on the Switch. Boom, more sales. And it's kind of like the Switch is just like, let's go.
I know.
Hitting that 20 million figure real quick now.
I know. People, I mockingly scoff at all the haters that were like, this console's gonna suck. Nobody plays mobile stuff anymore. Folks, I don't know what to tell you, but oh my gosh, you could not be more wrong. And I mean, on top of it, like they're just doing stuff that it's incredible cross-pollination business practice that you get the Pokemon Go fans who are like, oh, I can play this and my stuff matters now. Like, cool, I'll do that. And there's a new Pokemon game coming out next year. Oh, check out all these other games that this thing has too while I have it. You know, and then you have me or people probably in my boat were like, never touching Pokemon Go. It's useless. There's no point to it. And then it's like, hey, by the way, you can add your Pokemon.
Yeah, and now I'm kind of like, well, maybe I will download it again and give it a shot, because
it's like, hey, if I
gets
see
me
this,
walking around, and
it's like,
now my Pokemon are useful.
I'll just go around and see if I can catch a Geodude. Like, sure.
I wonder if all my Pokemon are still available, because I had a Dratini from back in the day.
Ooh, I think depending on your account, because I actually used a Google, like a Gmail, and so even though I deleted it, it was like a quick login and it had everything. Dang. So I think if you can remember,
have to re-log in, because I had like a Dratini and a bunch of rare Pokemon.
Nice.
I mean, nowadays it's probably not even rare, but because we're up to like 3rd gen, so I don't even know. Yeah. I don't even know what's good anymore.
Right, but I think at the same time though, it makes it. And granted, this is probably just a happy accident that Nintendo's taking advantage of, but because they now have 3 gens running in Pokemon Go, it's much less likely that you're going to find these ultra rare Kanto Pokemon. So when you do, it's like, oh frick, I'm about to face this gym leader, and I'm going up against Brawly. Like, I really need, or he might have been
Brawly.
Ruby, whatever. There's one guy.
Isn't that a Dragon Ball Z character?
No, there's also a in Ruby and Sapphire, I think. Brawly is a gym leader, whatever. Maybe.
Oh yeah. It's
some BR word.
He's Elite Four, isn't he? The Rock.
Oh,
Elite
maybe
Four
he is.
What is his name now? I'm gonna look it up. You keep talking.
I'll just keep talking. But yeah, no, I feel like this is the epitome of an example of making a game purposeful in the idea of like a video game.
Brawly. It's the fighting water gym leader.
Darn right. Told you.
A big wave in fighting.
That's right.
I think he was a fighting gym leader, but he was like a surfer dude or something.
Yeah. So, but I feel like this is the epitome of an example of making a game purposeful and using a game that isn't purposeful and like pumping purpose into it.
Yeah, I feel like it's interesting because it's revealing that, I mean, the whole Switch release has been Nintendo like basically turning a new leaf.
Yep.
And saying like, we've been trash for the past how many ever years. Like, we haven't been listening to fans. We haven't been doing things right. And now they're just like, but we're going to do everything right now. And then they just like release a Switch, release all these games, release everything. And tons of ports from the Wii U and stuff that people never got to play. And like, it's just like, man, like the hype can't get any higher, I think.
Yeah,
I mean, I haven't really been playing the Switch a lot, but like, I think there's just so many things happening that I'm just like,
Nintendo fans are just laying on the ground spazzing out.
Yeah,
like,
I can't
handle it.
Yeah, and we got like Pokemon coming out this year. We got Smash, and it's just, I think the whole Pokemon thing is just representative of Nintendo's new way of moving forward, of like doing things right and listening to the different fan bases and like creating things that are awesome.
Yeah.
So
they're just making good stuff.
Yeah.
Like, just flat out, they're just making really dope games.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, there's games that are falling through the cracks that I forgot about, that it's like, oh frick, there's a new Metroid coming out.
Yeah, I literally haven't been like keeping up
and
tabs
I heard,
on the Switch.
Right.
So like at the end of the summer, when I kind of like get back into gaming again, I think it's going to be like a whole wave of things where I'm like, frick.
Well, I mean,
because Spyro's coming out, which I'm definitely getting on the Switch just because it'd be awesome.
There's a rumor, I mean, I'm not going to play it, but Fortnite is apparently rumored and been quote unquote confirmed.
I'm still hoping Fallout 3 Anniversary is a real thing.
Oh, dude.
And if that comes to the Switch, I will cry.
Toast. You're toast. Like, you're done.
That's a whole different announcement that we could discuss a little bit towards the end. But
yeah. I'm trying to think of some, there's rumors that there's a Star Fox racing game. There's also rumors that there's an F-Zero game.
Isn't there a Sonic racing game coming out?
There's a new Sonic racing game that was rumored.
People were pretty hyped about.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of some of the other Nintendo stuff that...
There was a whole list that got leaked for E3, and it was like...
Yeah, it was
Monster
like,
Hunter XX, I think, was one of them.
Yep. There's...
Paladins, some game called Paladins, which is like
it's like an Overwatch knockoff.
Yeah, so, I mean, if people play it and it's on the Switch, like...
Well, and that might be where they were going is, well... Blizzard's not putting their game on the Switch.
Yeah, so let's get one on there.
And people want it, but I mean, it's more or less the exact same thing. And I've heard it's not as nuanced. But regardless, it's like, folks, keep it coming, man. Like, I'm all about it. But no, it definitely doesn't help my wallet or my time.
Yeah. So the leak was Fighters, Fortnite, Monster Hunter something or other, XX, 2X, FIFA 19, Killer Queen Black, whatever that is, Starlink, Paladins, Overcooked 2, and Aces, which we already know about. But even Fighters, I think that'd be fun on the Switch too.
Yeah,
it's just like I don't have enough money to try all these dope games.
Right. Yeah, so I'm trying to be more strategic, and I think I've come to the moment of acceptance where I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna get it, and if I never play it, I have it. Like, I just
have it for the future.
Exactly, whenever that is. But I'm just stoked.
It's an exciting time to be a Switch owner, I think.
Right. Well, and I just picked up Owlboy yesterday because they came out with a physical release. And with Gamers Club, because it's only around for a year, and I'm just trying to soak it in. It's only like $20. It's like $30, and the digital copy I think is like $15 or $20. So it's like with Gamers Club, I'm basically getting the physical edition, with like the dope box art and everything for the same price. So I was like, nice. It's good, and I've heard it's a great retro style. And I have Battle Chasers. I don't even know if I talked about that the past couple of episodes, but that was another. I didn't even know that was a
thing. It looks pretty fun though.
Yeah, it was a Kickstarter video game based on the comic Battle Chasers Night War, and the game is an RPG. It's a turn-based, but if you're not a hardcore turn-based fan, I would recommend this game as a good starting point. It's really interesting. The art's
I'm not
really
a huge
cool.
fan of turn-based other than like Pokemon.
It's a little more linear, so it helps it go quicker and to feel less like that's the biggest thing I hate about old school turn-based games. Zach would hate me for this because he's like all about the Final Fantasy and stuff, but I'm just not a big fan of having to like roam a huge map, and then there's like Pokemon style out of nowhere battles that come up, and it just feels like forever. It just takes forever.
Yeah.
Whereas this, actually, the enemies will like little icons will pop up on the map, and so you literally walk around in like this straight line. So like the map transferring like point to point is like kind of bland, but at the same time, depending on how you view it, it also makes it very easy to be like, all right, I've got like 3 battles coming up, or like, oh, here's a path that only has 1 battle, but how the game has orchestrated it, that's probably going to be a harder fight, but it's still going to be a quicker journey this way to go that way and do that. And some of the mechanics they have are a little more forgiving, or actually make it more interesting. So usually you have like a mana bar, so you have like special attacks to do that. But they have in this, you can actually there's like an extra gap. So like let's say your mana bar is like 100. So each character, depending on their abilities, has like an extra like 30. So it's like 100, and then it's like 130 is like the peak. And it's like our overcharge. So you can do standard attacks, which builds your overcharge. But then if you use a mana-based attack, it pulls from your overcharge and not your mana bar. So if you do it right in certain fights, you can basically like, oh, this guy needs to get healed, but I don't want to waste mana points because I have this issue coming up. I'm going to stack my overcharge. All right, healed this guy, and it's done. But, you know, in like fights, it can also be interesting because then, all right, but this dude's kicking my butt. I got to catch up. But then I can stack this guy, and then he can heal, and then not have to waste anything, and then this. And so it's just a very cool game, and how everything is orchestrated I really like. And I think it's a great entry for non like JRPG fans or even like turn-based RPG fans. So it's shallow enough to get into it, but it's also complex enough that it requires a little bit of strategy and thinking ahead.
So it's still fun.
So it's still enjoyable. So it's like a good middle of the road. So I dig it. And it's only,
I feel like there's a lot of
$40
games and stuff like that have been secretly releasing that I just haven't been noticing. So
yeah, and it's not full priced either. It's not priced at 60. So I want to say I got it for like $40.
Oh,
40 or
nice.
50, and that's not before Gamers Club. So it's definitely worth the price. And
I feel like
funds
Black
an
Friday
indie
for me this
developer.
year is going to be a lot of games.
Yeah,
I'm just
I'm
going
gonna
to
keep my eyes out.
What is this? What
That's
is this?
true.
What is this? What is this? Oh, geez.
I mean, that's a good point. I might be saving for Black Friday this year.
It's going to be dope
ahead of time, but
yeah. Wrapping back around to the Pokemon thing, we can discuss the final thing, and then I'll say my piece on Fallout, and then we can roll out.
Sounds good.
So yeah, like we said before, along with Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, they're also releasing a mainline Pokemon game in the vein of X and Y and Sun and Moon next year. I think it's the second half of 2019, they said. So we have that to look forward to. It's more handheld focused, more focused on creating the similar experience to the mainline core Pokemon RPG gaming experience. And I think somebody did confirm that there's not Pokemon Go influence in those games. So I think that's going to be exciting as well, hopping off the tail end of Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. So it's, I'm excited. A lot of good stuff coming. And the last thing I just want to mention, we can also mention the Assassin's Creed thing.
Yeah, that I saw that the other day. It's been confirmed. The next Assassin's Creed is Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which is based in Greece, which I am stoked.
I feel like it's going to be cool.
Stoked.
I think it's interesting to see the trajectory that Assassin's Creed is going.
Yes.
It went from like you're an assassin or you're a modern day person who's like using your ancestors' DNA to go back in time to be like this assassin or something. And now they're turning it into this series of games that like almost explores history through like the like almost like more, basically adding
what people
more
wanted,
historical
really.
accuracy.
Yeah.
And I think that at least the people that I know that love Assassin's Creed love it because of like the historical stuff.
Exactly.
So I think it's going to be an interesting effort to see. I still wanted to play Origins at some point because it did look really fun.
Yeah, I installed it because after seeing that I was like, oh, I should really sit down. Even if I play a couple hours of Origins and get it a little bit into it. It's just there's something about it that has me really excited about even being in the premise of Greece and stuff like that, or what they could do moving forward. Is I really hope that they stay very, 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 very far away from the connection at all. I don't want any connection to the modern day. Like, stick these people in here and let them run. Like, put them in the organization, put them in the creed, and just let them go.
I think it gets too confusing when you're trying to play with two timelines.
It's doing too much.
It's like the whole Green Arrow thing, like the TV show. They do like the flashbacks and then the modern day, and it's just like the flashbacks get so convoluted because like the modern day character is supposed to be informed by the flashback one, and it's like it gets confusing. And it's like, really, people are only interested in the assassins and the Templars and the Masons or whatever, and like how their conflict plays out in history.
Exactly.
And even if it's just fictional, like people like that kind of stuff. So.
Right. And there's a point where it's like it's just bad writing too. Like I just don't care. And that's that's like one of the cardinal sins of bad creative writing is if you yourself as the writer are reading through it and edit and you're like, I need to get through this part because I want to edit the fun part. Just
do the fun part.
It's like just chop it out. And if you needed that whole boring section to get to the fun part, that's bad writing and you got to redo that.
Which I think they're because they did take like 2 years off.
Yep,
and
a
to like
huge difference.
They basically did what God of War did and kind of like reinvigorated the franchise in some ways. Which they actually went similar routes. They went like the open world, but also like more like quest based and like weapons based. Like you get different classes of weapons and stuff and drops, and so I don't know. I think it's an interesting direction. I think Greek backdrop will be pretty dope.
And maybe to your point too, fingers crossed that maybe the whole reason that they went back to Origins to give them a benefit of a doubt is because I think it took a lot of people by surprise. Like, why are you going back so far? Like, that seems so dumb. Like, you've had the Industrial Revolution, you've had, Venice, Italy, and, kind of the Renaissance. You've had all these like more like, why are you going back to ancient Egypt? But I don't know if there's any. I don't think there was any like real world connection stuff to it. Like I don't know if Abstergo
in Origins.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
I haven't
I think
read
they
anything.
Literally scrapped that stuff.
Which, if that's the case, then I would not be surprised if their plan is to almost like start back so far and then base it more in the history and then use
and I
the
think
games.
Like it's interesting because you can still have the same implications.
Exactly.
Like, it can still be you're playing this guy's ancestor, but like the brunt of the story is the historical stuff, not the dumb modern stories.
Right.
That was one thing I didn't like about the movie was like they focused too much on the real world when I wanted to see like the dope assassin stuff in the time when it is just like this balance where like the reason people like the games is because you get to play as an assassin in some historical backdrop like ooh, the Knights Templar and like the whatever, and it's just like this cool fake conflict that you get to play out, and it's just like I don't know. Yeah. Which is why I've never wanted to play it because it's just like it's too much stuff going on, and they just kept releasing them, and I think refocusing is a pretty cool thing. So
and even mechanically and like game development wise, they haven't been super stellar. No, with some of them too.
Yeah, they've ever since Black Flag, Black Flag is held up as like the definitive like Assassin's Creed game, I think. And then ever since then, it's kind of like gone downhill again as far as quality. Yeah. But then Origins, I feel like has gotten
people loved it.
Gotten
it's got
people
re-excited
about
on
it.
Metacritic right now. So it's
So
I'm excited.
Greece should be dope.
Yeah. It's just the whole like Spartan call out of the dude kicking the guy off the cliff was basically the confirmation. They're like, yep, it's true. And it's just
like, so let's go.
That was dope.
And then the last thing is Bethesda was teasing a Fallout-y type announcement, and they ended up announcing a game called Fallout 76, which is... This one I'm actually skeptical about, for the same reason I was skeptical about the Pokemon, because they're, like, tarnishing the name, I feel like, in some ways. But it's... So basically, it sounds like a cool concept. They're taking it. Vault 76 was one of the vaults in the Wasteland, and it was meant to be the control vault, like one that didn't have some weird social experiment, to see what would happen to people. And basically, the goal of the vault was after 20 years they would open, and then these would be the people who are tasked with like rebuilding society. And so the point of the game, I think, is you're an outsider who comes to this vault, and then you have to like help rebuild society. So I think, from what I can tell, they haven't really given us anything until E3, but so far it's confirmed that it's multiplayer in some aspect, but also that it does still feel like a traditional single-player Bethesda role-playing game. So somehow they're combining those two aspects. Yeah. I don't really know how that works. I'm hoping it's not an MMO, because I don't have time for MMOs anymore. It's just, I don't like having to rely on other people to get the full gaming experience. Yeah. I have no problem with playing with other people. I just don't like having to rely on them to actually get the experience out of the game that I need to get. For sure. The concept sounds cool though, because I think the game takes place 25 years after the Great War, so it's already been 5 years since the vault opened. Mm-hmm. So it'll be interesting to see where society goes, and I think some of the game is going to be focused on the rebuilding. So I think this game is going to be like they took the Fallout 4 like base building stuff, and this will kind of be like them fleshing that concept out maybe. And I think it's a similar thing to the Pokemon. Like, this is not the main Fallout game. Like, this is kind of an intermediary one while we work on Fallout 5, basically. And so if that's the case, then I'm a little bit more optimistic about it.
Sure.
Because I think it's good that they split, like, let's try new things out and let's reinvent Fallout, but in the vein of Fallout, not
Right.
like try new things that people are going to end up hating, like base building. So,
Base building.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it could end up being cool if it's a focus on, because I've always wished I could like actually make the wasteland better and like rebuild it in some ways, but it'll be interesting to see how they deal with the lore of you existing so soon after the war.
Right. Well, and even gameplay wise too, because that's a pretty big, depending on what you allow your player base in terms of scope of what they can and can't do. Because I mean, I think of games like Fable kind of had that, you know, where, I mean, granted, you're not like literally building stuff, but you're affecting your kingdom in some way and then growing it and changing it, or your decisions make it bad, or you know, because that could be kind of cool if you kind of are like, all right, this is like your city and like there's nobody here, so you got to go out and complete missions and get people to come in, but then depending on how you like handle conflicts or decisions or things, or they turn bad and it turns violent and it becomes a cesspool just like all the other cities, or it becomes a hub and everybody loves it, like. So there's some cool stuff that they could do.
Yeah,
but
I think
I definitely hear
a lot of people are skeptical because of the multiplayer thing.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're not talking about it as if it's an RPG in the same ways. But like for me, as long as Fallout 5 is still coming, like an actual mainstay RPG, Bethesda, whatever, then I think I could take them wanting to experiment in the Fallout world with other concepts. And I think the idea of rebuilding the wasteland could be cool if they do it right.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
I'm a little bit optimistic, but I think I'm just wary. I'm not as excited as I have been about Fallout in the past. So, man, E3 is gonna be nuts,
dude.
I'm gonna be in like Colorado. Like, hey, Evan, can we like? I'm gonna check Twitter for a while.
I have not been this excited for an E3 in a really, really, really long time.
Yeah,
and I don't think my brain's gonna be able to take it, because I mean, there's things that I'm waiting for from like certain companies. You know, like Nintendo, I can't wait to see what Nintendo stuff does. But then also, CD Projekt Red has been confirmed to be there, and everyone's waiting on 2099 or 2077. I got Spider-Man, but
I feel like if they announce that game and it's as amazing as I'm imagining it gonna be, like that's gonna be like my game of the year.
I might poo myself.
Like,
I don't know what's gonna happen.
My shorts.
I will crap my
like
shorts.
It's just insane, because even like thinking about Bethesda, like when they announced Fallout 4 at E3, it came out that November. And like the way Todd Howard talks about their games, like they want to minimize that gap between announcement and release as small as possible. I've been seeing rumors that Fallout 76 comes out August 1st.
Holy crap.
So it's like this E3 is just going to be all hands on deck for all these companies. Like, holy frick. What, like, I'm even excited to see what like Microsoft pulls out of their butt.
For real.
Like,
yeah.
It's just like nobody knows what's happening, and Sony with The Last of Us 2, I'm so stoked on that. This year is gonna be nuts, man.
I don't know what's gonna happen, and
I wrote down all the times for all of the conferences I wanted to read, so like when I'm in
Nice.
Colorado, I can like make sure I keep tabs and
Sure.
stuff. So
yeah, I think that's the thing for me that is so exciting, is feels like one of the first times in a long time where all of them are viable contenders to be the big one, like to just absolutely steal the show.
Yep.
And so I really hope they just try. Their whole goal is to outdo each other, and that even companies like Bethesda are like, we're gonna try and outdo Nintendo. That's our goal. I don't know if it happened, but
yeah, exactly.
You know, because recently I think it's granted also because of all the console releases, and there's been all that stuff, and so people are kind of in that weird. You know, we're trying to get the PS4 out there and the Xbox One, and there's the Scorpio and blah, blah, blah. Whereas now everything is on the table. Everybody knows. Everyone's like, what you got? Because Nintendo over here, they're looking pretty hot, and they're not slowing down. They've got more to come, and no one even knows. And then you have Sony, who like coming off of God of War and Horizon. No one knows what's coming down their chute, and then they're rumoring with like they might jump back into the handheld because of what the Switch has been doing. Microsoft, they got to catch up hard, and maybe their goal is to just drop the biggest bomb ever, to just be like, everybody's gonna be getting an Xbox. Like whoa.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a crazy year for E3, and I'm excited to see what comes. 'Cause it can only benefit us.
My wallet's
So,
gonna be hurting.
I know.
Oh
Like,
boy.
If CD Projekt Red announces their game and it comes out this year, like
Done.
Spider-Man coming out,
Yup.
if The Last of Us comes out this year or next year, if Smash Bros, the new Pokemon, like what the frick, man? How am I supposed to afford? Like Black Friday better have some off the chain
I know.
deals.
I
Otherwise,
know.
Christmas is gonna be
Or I'm-
popping.
I know, right? Or I might be getting a raise. Like,
yeah,
well,
like I'm gonna need more money for that job.
I know. I'm gonna need a 30% increase.
I'm gonna need a video game subsidy.
Whoa, 1 a week? How does that sound? Yeah, no, for real. There's part of me that like once vacation days build and stuff like that. If all these games do launch really quick, it's just gonna be like
I'm gonna need a week off for that.
even if I can't, because I think that's what I'm wrestling with and coming to grips with time is like I just need to use that to my advantage and be like, you know what, I'm not gonna beat Origins in a lot of amount of time, so I'm just gonna take a day off, or like I'm just gonna take a Friday, just 8 hours straight, put a
Boom.
full day's work into it, and
Yeah.
no matter what happens, I got 8 hours in. That's a good, like I spent enough time with it to feel like I enjoyed some of it, because there's just a
There's
reality
too many
that
games.
there's too many games,
Yep.
not enough time.
Yep,
But
especially this
I-
year, man. Too many
yeah.
games, too many consoles.
I would much rather try them all and not beat any than beat 2 and leave so many good options on the table. Because, dude, there are just some dimes that have been
I know.
announced, and there are dimes that are waiting to be
I
announced.
know, dude.
Whoa,
Cyberpunk, man.
boy! And if it's multiplayer, bro, you and I are gonna be cranking.
I know.
It's gonna be.
I really hope they don't
tight.
sacrifice like the single player
Oh,
experience
yeah.
though for it. I hope it's I hope it's basically just like The Witcher, but somehow they.
I have unreal
Locked
levels of
in the-
trust for CD
I
Projekt
know
Red.
they haven't let people down yet. So
Yeah, which is amazing to me, which has never been done before in some capacity. Usually some company does something,
yeah. So
and they have been borderline flawless.
I'm extremely excited and hopeless for this year.
It's going to be gold.
Yep.
You can check our podcast out on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and YouTube. We are also on Twitter. You can see me at Six Wing Creative, which, if anyone's interested, is kind of my side freelance gig. Right now, I'm not doing paid stuff, depending on what people need. But if you have a little project I can work on, let me know. I might be able to help you out. So that's at Six Wing Creative, and then Phil is I am Phil Sorensen, because he is Phil Sorensen.
I am.
So
yeah.
he laid
It's
he
just
laid
short
claim.
and sweet. Yeah.
It's what he is. It's what he does.
Mm-hmm.
And Zach is C San Pellegrino,
Because that's what he is. and
because that's what he
does.
is and that's what he does. And yeah, so if you have any ideas for episodes or things you'd like us to talk about, big news bits that we can throw into an episode, retweet us, tweet at us, message us. Pigeons work too, only occasionally though. That's good. That's
good.
it.
That's
That's
what it.
it.
Did you say what our email was?
Popculturepunks@gmail.com.
That was very well coordinated.
I was like, I'm gonna try and match his cadence and his rhythm as much as I can.
It
But
worked so well. All right.
It's been
My
a fun
bladder
episode.
calls.
This is Brill Crosby. I'm going to send you out and have some fun. Take it easy, listeners.
Voices in my heart tell me to throw it all away, to toss it in the wind and forget yesterday. But the crowd comes singing back with break ourselves free.